So first of all, let me tell you something about the agenda, and the agenda is understanding SLDS, Salesforce Lightning Designing System or Design System, you can say. Now, please note, if you remember in the previous session, we discussed something about the concept of CSS, and then we realized actually that the CSS is not exactly the suitable process that we can use, and we also realize how better benefits we can get by using something called as SLDS. So what is this SLDS? Please note, this is totally provided by Salesforce. It's just nothing but, you can assume, a replacement of your regular CSS pattern, and you can get much more benefits than this. So here, let me tell you first of all something about this SLDS. What is SLDS? So please note, this is a collection of design patterns as well as some guidelines for creating um, uniform uniform look and feel in Salesforce, same like Salesforce standard things. So whatever standard things you see in Salesforce, it gives a similar look and feel to you, and you don't need to, and in this case you don't need to go for any kind of other CSS functionality or perform any additional activity. It's all fine, it's all available, and we can go with this kind of pattern. Here, please note one more important thing that you need to understand, that while working in this uh, process, or while working in this CSS activity, we need to understand one important thing, that suppose there are some requirements and you want to understand where actually you can do this, or where you can uh, make this kind of setup, then you need to understand that you can use some kind of icons by this. You can just go for some kind of icons by this. You can also perform some kind of fonts, that's also possible. You can also go for some kind of activity like adding some kind of design images, that's also possible. And by this way here, we can also use this in terms of some designing tokens and all. Like, in short, it's going to give us lots of things which actually we need in terms of designing and making our setup very well better. Okay, now after this, here, let me mention these things here. So here, design system bundles 4 types of resource. Like, it contains 4 sets of resource. One, like the CSS framework, you don't need to worry about any CSS, the framework is going to take care of that. You have icons also which you can add, you have fonts also, and you also have design token, where by which you can create various designs and all. I'm going to show you something about that. So this way it provides lots of things to you. So this is something about the bundle. Next is, now here we can use designing system across various platforms. So this is something again important for our understanding, where we can use SLDS. So you can use in Visual Force pages. Second is Lightning pages, means the kind of work we have seen till today. Lightning components, Lightning environment. You can do that activity here also. Whenever you want to add any kind of look and feel, any kind of icon, any kind of theme, any kind of photo, any kind of designing, everything you can add by SLDS. Third, mobile apps, and also web apps. Okay, so this way you can use SLDS in various things. Okay, it's great, like it's going to help you in multiple situations. So now we are going to see how exactly we need to use SLDS, or what are the various ways. Now I told you that we can use in Visual Force pages. I told you we can use in Lightning pages. So if you remember, I'm going to show you one previously implemented project by us, or in fact the work by us, which we have seen previously. So in that case we have used SLDS. How? Let me show you by example. So if you remember, we created some kind of component like this. uh, okay, some kind of component like this for HDFC client record, right? In this section was used by SLDS. Okay, now here I'm going to show you the output first, so that you will be getting automatic idea how actually these things are implemented, and then it will be easy for you to understand the stuffs. So I'm going to run the code. I'm going to show you the output, and this is what exactly the benefit of SLDS is. Look at this. Now in this output, whatever you are able to see, please note the grid which is coming at the top. It's not a grid, in fact it's a kind of card, or let's say kind of header kind of strip. It's because of SLDS. Okay, such kind of things, banners, such kind of things, photos, and lots of stuff you can do by SLDS. Now let's go back to the code and speak something about this. And if you remember, I told you when we learned this topic that wait for a few days, we are going to understand what actually is this in SLDS, and it's the time. So here, first of all, please note the code is very much similar the way we use any normal code in component with some divs and all. But with every entity, you will see something like this: class this, class this, class this. And when you are going to add class and then something to your lightning component, immediately it will take the settings stylings from the SLDS setup, and this div is going to behave like this only. And this is what exactly called as SLDS. Here, without doing any kind of CSS import, just look at this in the heading. Did I add any static resource of CSS and try to connect that CSS with my Salesforce component and all? No, there is nothing like this. I'm just directly writing that this word, for example, div class media body. That's it, done. If I use this much also, directly that code starts working and impacting to my Salesforce environment. Very, very handy thing. No headache like the traditional approach of uploading CSS resource and then connecting and all this stuffs. Or putting our logical mind, which is built for doing coding, logical thing, unnecessary wasting our time in CSS. This border is not good, this line is not good, increase the font, lower the border, or take the right hand side alignment, or make it left hand side. This kind of time wasting activity which used to happen previously, now it's no more. Just write class whatever, see the output, done. So this is what actually the benefit we are going to get, especially people like you and me who are developers, not the designers. And for this process, we need to understand that Salesforce here is going to give us a website on which we need to check all the stuffs, whether you want any kind of code, whether you want to use any kind of icon or anything. So what you are going to do is this. So once you go to the design system, click on get started. Suppose you want to use this in the Visual Force page, so click on Visual Force page. And remember that while using Visual Force page, you need to understand that here, this in this Visual Force page, we need to first of all follow this all rules, okay? And also, whenever we are using any kind of such implementation, we need to understand this catches, okay? So this way you can just start using in Visual Force page. Go for Lightning. In the Lightning, you don't need to do much activity. Here, you just need to perform some kind of activity by putting the class, and that's it. So that's also it's possible here. Heroku, some other platform by which people create websites in Salesforce. That's also helps you to use SLDS. You can use Android mobile. The SDKs are available with Salesforce. You can create, if you know Android mobile development, just you can use there also by importing the icons or necessary things. You can use an iPhone also by using the um, specific C language, which actually it's using its own language, or also using Swift and all. And also you can use in Windows Phone as well. So it's available everywhere by using this kind of libraries and fonts. Okay, next. Now let's go back to the Lightning. Now here in Lightning, whatever you want to use in your Salesforce environment, so please note, first of all, you can go through the guidelines and understand how actually it works. It's going to give us all these benefits. You can even have some kind of you can also have some kind of animation. You can see here such kind of things, such kind of animations you can add. That's also possible in SLDS. Okay, next, you will be getting some kind of guidelines, like in terms of the dimensions, some kind of information which a designer should know. So that is what is x-axis, y-axis, etc. You can also work on the various things like color. You can see for color how the implementation can be done, the data entry, input forms and all. That's also possible here. How we can do this, you can just mention here: displaying data, working on layout, working on loading message, localization, messaging, navigation. Lots of things are there. Next, in accessibility, here it will tell you that what exactly is accessibility of Lightning, and how we can have various usage of things like coloring, legends, validation, and etc. etc. We can also follow some kind of pattern. You can click here. If you can see, accordion pattern will give you some kind of pattern like this. List box will give you some kind of pattern like this, or menu will give you some kind of options like this, right? So these kind of things are available in SLDS. Toggle button, that's also something which we use regularly. If you just click on this toggle button, see it's changing the color, it's becoming lot toggled. You can also use tooltip, which we found very helpful in terms of using and informing customer. This is also possible. When you go for the components, then it will show you the entire component and entire detailings of that component, how you can use, how you can add this functionality. You can see everything is coming here. Okay, you, for example, you want to see alert message. Suppose you want to give alert message, just you can see the code is present here, and it gives us information in this format. Okay, and apart from that, there are so many things which are available. Some utilities are available: alignment, border, grid, layout, margin. About this also, you can make definitely some settings. You can see these are the various outputs available. Okay, so this is something like that. And then you can go for icons, design tokens. You can have some kind of design tokens like background color, and you can have some kind of tokens for various stuffs. But the background color is what actually bit popular in the market. And apart from that, there are lots of stuff which you can use. You can use icons. These all icons are possible to be used on your Salesforce Lightning environment. Okay, you can see all this icon. Okay, next you can also click on downloads, and here you can just um, go through this system on GitHub. If you want to make some kind of changes also, you can do this in the change set. Generally people don't do that, but still, if any kind of company which is totally focusing on designing and it wants to take the benefit of the current designing lightning design system and want to make change, that's also possible. Generally people don't do that, and that's it. FAQs and articles and all. Okay. So let's go back to that platform and go to lightning and see here. Now, first of all, whenever you are going to use anything in the lightning environment, please note the Salesforce lightning, the our Salesforce lightning component or app, or Salesforce mobile, that is Salesforce one, all actually are included or having lightning design system. You don't need to create something extra or new from your side. It's already having that. Okay, so you just don't need to worry about static resource. You don't need to add some kind of static resource. The look and feel will start matching. Next, now here let me just mention here, while using SLDS in lightning component, lightning app, etc., we don't need, also one more thing, we don't need to load any static resource for them. They are already compatible. So here you don't need to worry about anything because things are already available. Okay, but previously we had to load some files in SLDS and lots of other activities we had to do. Okay, let me go back to that page. Next, now apart from that, now let me explain you some important information. So if I just proceed here uh, in this lightning thing. Okay, so you can see here, first of all, understand the main difference in the get started between the lightning and the visual force page. So whenever you are going to work on any visual force pages and for designing system, then you need to understand that there are some kind of uh, recent changes being done by Salesforce, that if you have any visual force page, and here if you just want to make this kind of visual force page compatible with the latest look and feel or some kind of changes, then that also is possible by using lightning design system. Or you can simply use a design attribute, which is a new feature brought into Salesforce. But that also you can have a look and feel change for your visual force pages. Okay, and now after this, let me tell you next thing. So here, suppose we are going to work on lightning design system, then in this case we will be going through one sample code, and let me just show you something about this. So just give 1 minute. Now here what I'm going to do is one of my uh, one of my previous activity or project. I'm going to tell you something about this. So there was one requirement in our previous project where we wanted to actually use and start working on SLDS. Now I'm going to tell you that scenario or that requirement where actually we wanted to use the Salesforce Lightning design system. There was one scenario where we wanted to use a visual force page because customer was not fully shifted towards the Lightning. And now, 1 minute. So at that time, as the partial transformation was done from Lightning to Classic to Lightning, and some pages were there where actually customer wanted to check the things in SLDS format. What we have done in this case is we first of all implemented some functionality where actually we used the SLDS setup, and we added some kind of lightning tools. Now just going to I'm going to show you uh, some example. Just give 1 second. Some example of code. Just give 1 second. Let me just check in my system. Yeah. So let me tell you something about that. So first of all, I'm going to tell you one scenario or one screen where actually the lightning design system was used. There was a requirement to get the information from the customer, and that information we wanted to use in the Visual Force format. That one page was actually available in Visual Force page, and the rest of the code actually we wanted to have in the Lightning. So how we can manage this, or how we can perform this functionality, right? So what we have done as actually we created a Lightning design system Visual Force page, and let me show you that one. So what we did actually is something like this. Look at this. Okay, now this is the functionality which actually we have performed, and here please note, if you see this look and feel, then you can easily say that this is something related to lightning, or this might have created in the lightning component, because such kind of look and feel how we can get in Visual Force page. Please note guys, this was possible because of SLDS. So SLDS will give you this kind of structure, look and feel into Visual Force page as well. Otherwise, you know what is the look and feel and quality of Visual Force page. It's very, very less, or compared to very, very average as compared to the lightning quality. But still, by using SLDS, we can create such a Visual Force pages which will be having amazing look and feel like lightning. Okay, so now this was some kind of activity done in that particular project, but now the prototype of that, or working on such kind of scenario and creating some kind of functionality like this, that actually we are going to see how to perform and give this kind of functionality to our customer. So for that, I'm going to tell you some specific code, and we are going to work on that. So let me start first of all with that code, the code that we need to use for this process. And this is something, a code which is useful for various scenarios. Just give 1 second. Let me copy the code from my system, which is I created for you guys, as I cannot create or take the code from the real-time project or the customer's end. So let's proceed with the line by line functionality. So point number one, whenever we are going to start any Salesforce project or any Visual Force page functionality, then in this case, let me write the heading walkthrough of Visual Force page with, or let's say Visual Force page plus SLTS. Okay, so let's go through that. Now, first of all, let me explain the code. Your page, your first heading that you are going to write in this process, it should be always starting with apex page and ending with apex page. In that apex page, you can write certain kind of format, some kind of attributes, like whether apply HTML tag or not, and show header or not. And this, we will remove the header. We don't want to see any headers like a Visual Force page, because we wanted to have complete a different look and feel. Standard style sheet we did not want, because whatever is the regular Visual Force page styling, we did not want that. Sidebar, no, we don't want anything. We just want to show it as a lightning page. Whether you want to apply any HTML tag and all, no. Any body tag, no. And this is important. This is helpful for us if you want to use any HTML advanced tags like h1 and all these things. Whatever is there, such kind of tags, if you want to use with the advanced or latest HTML setup, then we can use this doc type HTML. Okay, that's it. So basic structure which you can use in every Visual Force page, which actually is going to work on the SLDS. Next, after this, please note that whenever we want to write any kind of functionality in this Visual Force page, we just give the namespaces or name spacing of one HTML tag. This is not related to Salesforce. It's just related to namespace, that by which we can link this page and we can have a connection to this namespace, which is the standards of HTML already mentioned in w3 org. And here this is a kind of system that we follow always in all Visual Force page. This is nothing but just declaring the namespace, and by saying that whatever w3.org, the committee which actually set up the HTML tags and all, or the HTML functionalities, we are just having the namespace associated with that. That's it. Okay, so this is also one thing which we use in terms of the HTML things, not related to Salesforce, so you can skip this, and nothing to worry about that in terms of that process. Next, the next thing that we do is we use a header section in HTML. Now this header section actually is going to help us to understand how actually Salesforce Lighting Design System can help us, and let me just show you what actually we have done in this case. And here we go. So we have added one head section. In that we have given some title. Again, this is all related to HTML. Then we added a style sheet. Now this is necessary while using Visual Force page. On Visual Force page, you must add this by giving style sheet, and the value is nothing but a static resource which should be there in your Salesforce environment, that I'm going to explain, by the way, practically how to add into your Salesforce environment. And this CSS you must add. This is the very important CSS. So if I go to my Salesforce environment, so let me go to my Salesforce environment and show you. what this static resource I'm talking about. And for any such project where your customer is not fully on Lightning, still they want to go with Lightning and Classic hand in hand. In all such project, this concept we are learning is a very useful concept for you. So it's a kind of boon for you to save your day, because if customer is asking something in Lightning look and feel, and you cannot, and you're working light and Classic, you cannot do anything. It's very difficult to match that quality. But by using SLDS, we can do that. So here, go to setup. Then in the setup, please note that here we have develop, and in the develop, please see this option static resource. Please click on that. And now these are all something related to CPQ. And now let me show you something about, yeah, look at this. This is the package of Salesforce Lightning Designing System you can add into your Salesforce environment. Or also, apart from that, you can directly go to the Salesforce environment and also install some kind of functionality there. Okay, so I'm just going to make it here. Let me show you one thing. Now you can see here in this process here, you can add also various stuffs like jQuery library, Bootstrap library, etc, etc. All these things you can bring into your Salesforce environment. Okay, and apart from that, a zip file also, SLDS zip file, which is nothing but going to give you the lightning look and feel in your Salesforce environment of classic Visual Force pages. Okay, and this file I am accessing here, SLDS something like this, SLDS 100 or whatever is the latest value. For example, Control F, SLDS. Now see, I have installed various versions of SLDS. Let's say this is the latest version, SLDS 32 or 232. Okay, so you can just take it and paste here. So now it will bring all the necessary lightning CSS from this resource. That's it. Now your Visual Force page will become compatible to work on lightning mode. And here now I will write a comment. This VF page is ready to look like a lightning page. That's it. Now you need to just add various tags of the Visual Force page, apex table or apex, let's say input text or output label or whatever, and just give the styling by using class equal to something. That's it. Your Visual Force page also will look very great. Okay. So this is step number one. And also let me add some kind of comment here. So this code which we have written is setting page, the page, and removing things we don't need on page. Next, after this, the second line actually that we have is for name spacing for w3.org. Now please note this is related to HTML things, you can leave it. Okay, just you can use like this. Then here below this, let me write this comment. This one is important. Using style sheet needed for lightning design system. Now this style sheet we need, and we are calling it by this, calling the CSS from static resource. That's it. So our page will be ready to be to execute like the lightning quality or in the same format. That's it. Next, after this, what you can do, then you can add various stuffs in your Salesforce environment. For example, now you can add some kind of SLDS entity wrapper and lots of things. Okay, now let me tell you something about this. Now this one is also very important, and here let me mention VF page starts. Okay, now below that you can also mention this body and close the body. Okay, so you can see now in this body your visual force page body will remain whatever is present here. Okay, and this requires and after this body you don't forget this single line. That's it, it's a very important line. By writing this we are saying, by writing this we declare that any code below this line can come under influence of SLDS. So in short, we can use the SLDS tags for the code below this line. Okay, so whatever you're writing, you're creating a text box, you're creating a small button, everything will come in terms of SLDS influence. It will look totally nice and having very good look and feel the way I shown you right now, that account creation process. Okay, so this is very very necessary. If you don't do this, then please note it's not going to work as per the expected manner. Okay, and then you write whatever code. So I would say here the main journey starts here. Now you write anything in this and your Visual Force page will start behaving in a better manner. And that's all with this today's agenda. Now we have to go through some various codes, tags and options to understand how we can use SLDS in a practical scenario by going for some kind of code. As I told you from the previous project scenarios, I'm going to explain you the SLDS, which is going to contain various beneficial sections, headers, grids, layouts, lots of things I'm going to teach you. Those are going to be very handy for making you guys confident on SLDS structure. Okay, but that we are going to see in the next session. I don't want to burden you guys with everything in that code in the day one only. So we'll see this performance or activity in the next session. Okay, so everyone is clear in today's session how to use SLDS and how to start working on SLDS, the benefits of SLDS, how we can use SLDS in Sales Visual Force page, and how we don't need to worry about anything using SLDS in Salesforce 1 or Salesforce component, because there it's everything ready. I shown you the code also in the component. I did not worry about anything. I just written class equal to this, done, available. But here in Visual Force page we need some efforts, and that is the reason I told you this structure. Okay, so tomorrow we are going to meet and see this thing in action. See ya.